Hello, everyone. It's Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Les, we have a big show coming up. A lot going on, and also great guest. That's going to be wonderful for people that buy new vehicles, right?
Absolutely. Consumer Reports is the place to go. Nonprofit, great information, rigid, rigorous testing. But also, we have a lot of stuff going on. The Jaguar, uh, not conspiracy, but the whatever's going on, it keeps going on, and everybody is weighing in their opinions. Uh, Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Here's the thing. It was revealed at a non-automotive event. So I think people have to realize this is just a concept.
Yes.
And elements of it will be in the final vehicle, but not necessarily all the elements. But it was the interesting comment I heard was it looks like a Crosstrek in the back. Remember the Crosstrek?
I remember it very well. It does, and yeah, we're going to talk about this a lot. But I think yes, I think this event was a just a general appeal to the public. Hey, what
Yeah,
do you think?
yeah, exactly. Well, we'll get your opinion on that, and also we have more stories on Nissan. Still, executives leaving, things not going too well there, are they?
Things are going badly there, but we'll talk about that too. And then at Mazda, we've got a little bit better more positive news to talk about what's new and also what the newest Miata will cost.
Yeah, that's it's good news because they're keeping it under 30K. So
Yeah,
that's great news for anyone looking to buy that, right?
well, it is, and you know, it's such a successful car. That just you got to give them just tremendous credit.
Yep. Yep, indeed. And then I'm also going to talk about with you the report card from Consumer Reports because they have a lot of information and one brand comes out on top for the first time. We won't tell you what that is because we want you to stick around, but it's
That's right.
great information if you're buying a vehicle. And Jon
Yes,
Linkov is going to be by who is the deputy auto editor over at Consumer Reports. So he will have a lot of information for you and a lot of great tips if you're buying a car. And one of them is an old school tip. We'll just tease it that way.
that is right. That is right. And you know, more and more, there was just strikes and pay cuts and people leaving, and you know, um, things are. I wouldn't say turmoil, but watch out what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of turmoil actually throughout the automotive industry. In our second hour, we're going to talk about Stellantis. Their CEO just up and quit in the middle of a meeting.
Yep.
But could
He
that
found
lead?
out. He found out Nissan has a job open.
Yeah, from one place to another. But the question is, there's an interesting article this week, and we'll talk you about it. Talk to you about it. Could that mean the return of the Hemi, at least in some limited capacity? And we'll kick that
Yeah.
around. Why the Hemi went away? Also, VW turmoil, a lot going on there with
Yep.
the strike, and then we'll take a look at Polestar. The Polestar 3 is coming to the U.S. and being built in the U.S. So that is a great thing for U.S. workers and for Polestar. So we'll kick it around. What they're going on
It
with
is.
that, right? So anyway, all of that and more when we get going on Cruise Control. Stay tuned because we are coming right up with the live show.
This is Cruise Control. Your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Everything you need to know about new and used cars. Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air. Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin. Because you're on Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
And welcome to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Hello, everyone. It's Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Les, how you doing this week?
Hey there. Very good, very good. A little cold on the East Coast, but we've survived it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're ready to get out and buy more Christmas presents.
All right. Well, my question is, will you survive this? Jaguar reveals its Type 00 concept in Miami. We'll have some details and some thoughts, and I'm not totally against it. I'm remembering that it is a concept, Les Jackson, and not necessarily what the vehicle will look like when we're all done.
Exactly. Yeah. I, too, have thoughts, but we'll hit them when we hit them. And Nissan starts production of the new Murano, which has been very popular, but will it be enough to save the brand? Doesn't seem to be. And what caused its downfall? Well, we know there's one major reason that Nissan's in trouble. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we will, and we'll kind of wax, we'll try to make some predictions on that. And then we're also going to take a look at the Toyota Cross. The Toyota Cross gets some new colors and some new features this year. That is Toyota's small crossover. So we'll kick that around, won't we?
That's right. And over at Mazda, we're going to take a look at the new prices for the Miata, or MX-5, as they like to call it, for 2025. Still under $30,000.
Yeah, barely, but it is under $30,000, and that is a good thing for anyone looking to buy it. And then report card time. Remember report card time, Les? Did you take it home and get it signed by your parents? Well,
yep.
Well, it's a little bit different this time. Jon Linkov from Consumer Reports will join us. He has got the 2025 report card for new vehicles, and we'll tell you one manufacturer who has never been on top has made it to the top, beating out Lexus and Toyota, which are some heavy-duty customers, don't you think?
Tough customers to beat, and good for them. We'll tell you a little later on.
Yeah, it's great information if you're looking for buying a new vehicle, and also he's going to have some great tips that I think are great for anyone buying a vehicle. And one of them is a very old school tip, and we'll ask him why that still holds true in today's world. It's interesting too. I attended an early event for this, and they were saying all the young electric vehicle manufacturers still have problems with doors, and I want to ask him about that. Seems like I would ask an expert on that, but
seems to me that's been worked out.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that and more when we come back on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine with Fred Staab and Les Jackson. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control. We're going to get right into our first story, Fred. I know you're anxious to do it. Me too. This is the Jaguar campaign. Now we have one advertisement with very colorful people walking around, and you don't know what they're doing until the end, and it just says Jaguar across the back. And then they just unveiled an actual concept in Miami.
Right.
Not to the automotive press, but just to regular folk.
Well, artsy folk.
And that's fine. Now, as you have already said, this is just a concept. This is not the new model. The elements like any concept, will appear in the new model.
Yeah, like the
Uh,
long hood, the short rear deck.
like enough of a a window to be able to see out of it.
Well, they do
And
have a piece of brass, I believe it is, down below that has
that's
a camera behind it. If it's right behind the front wheel, that is on the concept. So that might be the rear view mirrors. Um,
yeah, and it's very low to the ground, so possibly it would have a suspension that raises up. Who knows?
23-inch wheels, they say, would be the norm on this.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be that radical. Um, Certainly, there will be radical colors. I, I think it's going to look a lot like an Aston Martin shooting brake.
That's a very interesting point. And, a lot of the internet blew up and said, well, look at the back of it. It looks like a Crosstrek, the Chrysler Crosstrek, not
Yes,
Crosstrek, the
correct. The
Crossfire.
cross, yes.
Crossfire. It's very much like the Chrysler Crossfire was. Um, you know, we have seen some spy photos of this, and it does have a long front hood and a short rear, which I always like that look.
It's the gold standard.
I don't know why designers are going for such high hips, though, and small greenhouse. The belt line is way too high for my taste. You can't see out of it, and
Well, I agree.
and a lot of people felt the
It's
front looked like a Rolls Royce.
it's a little too boxy. You're right. It's Rolls Roycey. It's not sleek and aerodynamic.
Now, what do we know about this vehicle? It's got a target range of 478 miles, and EPA rating of 430. They are saying it can add 200 miles of charge in as little as 15 minutes, and it will cost $120,000 or start
Of course, it will. Yes,
start at that price. Once again, they're going from a not a mass market, but a high-end manufacturer to a very low volume manufacturer with very high-end vehicles. I still don't know if that's the best play, but there you have it, right?
well, yes, I feel compelled to read what their marketing people have said. The magic of Jaguars close to our hearts, an original British luxury brand unmatched in its heritage, artistry, and emotional magnetism. That's the Jaguar we're recapturing, and we will create the same sense of awe that surrounded iconic models like the E-Type.
All right. Well, there you
Well,
have it.
I think they're going to hit it.
Yeah, it will be somewhat something like this. I mean, it has a pretty bizarre interior with a pole running down the middle of it. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But what do you think? Let us
Yep,
know. Let us know in the comments because this is a big step in the automotive industry and a storied brand. And we'd like to find out what you think. It once again,
yeah,
it is. I don't know if a lot of people in the art world realize this is just a concept, and it's showing off, concepts of what we might
that's
see.
right.
The long hood, the short rear deck, the big wheels. I'm not going to count it out. I know a lot of our colleagues have said that's it, it's over.
Yeah,
Let's see. Let's see what they have to offer. It's all about the cars. I don't care about the marketing. That means nothing to me. It's all about what it is like and how it drives. So, hey, when we come back, we're going to tell you about Nissan. Nissan had a good week in a sense that the first Nissan Murano, or the first generation, or the first models of the new generation came off the assembly line, but also they are struggling badly and losing some of their top executives. So we will talk about that when we come back on Cruise Control.
Very dry.
Very dry. It's ridiculous. All right. So, Les, it seems like Nissan's having some bad times. We're going to get into this on this next segment about how bad choices were made. And it seems like some of it has to do with electric cars and not moving away from them fast enough. If there's anything you and I have learned, you've got to be super agile. You've got to have the ability to
That's right.
prototype cars quickly and move them from one version to another.
You can't rely on a couple really good old standard products, even though they're terrific, when everybody else is doing something different. You get the image that people say, well, I'll look at Nissan sometime later. I'm going to look at these other brands.
Yeah, a lot of people, we want to get people's comments on this too. A lot of people are saying the CVT killed Nissan's products, that they did not like the driving, and they went in huge into the CVT transmission.
And it's a good CVC, but it hasn't been received well.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this during the break here. Here's a Jaguar you can buy. This is the Shagular from the Austin Powers movie. It's going up for auction, and I think it looks quite good with the paint scheme. The paint scheme looks best from the top.
That's right. In the Jaguar, everything was shagging in those movies.
Yes, this is the angle it looks best from, don't you think?
That's cool. I mean, I restored an E-Type, and I wouldn't have been above painting it that way.
Yeah, beautiful car and beautiful interior, and it has the Provence of being in the movie. The actual vehicle. I know you have worked on that engine right there.
Yes, I have. And when they're set up, they run great.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. We'll be right back.
Baby, we'll be right back.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Less getting into character there.
I was, yes.
But we're going to talk about something. Well, it starts off as a good story here. Of course, Nissan is bringing out a new Murano, and they came off the line this week in the U.S., which is great. The first ones came off the line. This is a very important car for Nissan because if it doesn't do well, I mean, they're banking a lot on it. They are really banking a lot on it. And, we always get the jazz for people saying, oh, you guys are going too far, that the brand could come to an end. But I don't think so. It seems like they made a lot of mistakes. People are pointing their fingers to the CEO for not quickly moving away from electric vehicles and moving into other vehicles, hybrids and plug-in hybrids and things like that. It seems like these are huge mistakes. And Makoto Uchida, who is the CEO, is being called out on them. And it seems like there's activist investors that want him out.
I think that's fairly inevitable. But the problem is the mistakes have been made. So what do you do right now to start fixing them?
Well, he's cutting people and cutting costs,
but that doesn't sell cars.
No, you need to make every vehicle a hit. I mean, the Murano needs to be a hit. The Kicks seems to be a hit, the redesign. But you can't have any failures now. You can't have anything that's like, well, it sold well. You need to get the mix of vehicles right. You can't have all super expensive vehicles, and you might have to discount one very heavily just to get the volume.
It wouldn't hurt to have a Murano hybrid.
Right. Now
there isn't one.
They do have hybrids coming, but they are nowhere close. I think they're like a year away or whatever. And then also, by the way, Makito Uchida's history goes all the way back to Carlos Ghosn. Remember him?
I certainly do. Where is Carlos these days?
I believe he's in Lebanon. He's in Lebanon hiding out,
right.
And there's no way of pulling him out of that. But he went all through. He was the head of Nissan, and he went all through. They said he took money and all kinds of things, and then he what did he get into? Like a crate for musical equipment, and was shipped out of the country. Out of Japan?
Yes, he stowed away in a crate because he was under arrest, and he got out of the country and went to Lebanon. I mean, good. Hey, that's worth a movie right there.
I believe it is. I believe he hired an ex-Special Forces guy to make it happen. Yeah. And if you need something done, a Special Forces guy will make it happen for you.
They'll figure it out.
I can't think of what you would have to do to not get claustrophobic in that going across the ocean.
That would be just terrifying.
I couldn't do it.
No.
I would probably be in the Japanese prison. But then again, I probably wouldn't have stolen the money. But the problem is didn't go into hybrids quick enough. They had the lead in inexpensive electric vehicles with the Leaf. They probably squandered that lead a little bit. They had trouble with trucks, big trucks. They're getting out of that market. They spent a lot of money for that, big pickup trucks, and they got out of that. And then I think the CVT transmission, for many people, that they didn't like that transmission at all. And it's throughout their model lineup. But they've had some great hits. The Pathfinder is a great hit, isn't it?
The Rogue has been a great hit.
Yeah, and the new Kicks is off to a good start.
Mm-hmm.
So they do have some hits. Frontier, I think they waited a long time to update vehicles like that.
They were the last ones coming in with a small truck, and it's been about 8 years. Since the auto industry said, hey, you know what? We shouldn't have stopped making small trucks.
Yeah.
And everybody came in, and then Nissan finally did.
Yeah. And that Frontier model stayed around for a long, long, long time.
Sure did.
And it was a favorite, but it was kind of
old technology.
Yeah. So there you have it. What do you think caused Toyota to have what do you think caused Nissan to have a downfall? It's pretty big. It could mean the end of the brand. Let's hope not. We really hope that is not what happens.
I don't want to lose them. I don't want them to stop making the Z. I don't want them to close their dealerships. It's a good company.
It's a great company, and hey, hopefully it makes it through, and we'll see where it goes. Over at Toyota, though, they have some new things going on for the Toyota Cross. It's one of their popular models, and you were talking about having hybrids available. Well, this is a case where Toyota read the market. They had the Toyota Corolla Cross hybrid in the international world, and they brought it quickly. They accelerated it quickly into the U.S. market. And now they have some new things coming up for 2025, including a Nightshade edition that's going to including a newly available two-tone wind chill pearl or soul red crystal. Yes, you heard right, soul red crystal.
Soul red crystal.
They are working with Mazda and trading technologies, and that's one of the things that Toyota wanted. They wanted access to Soul Red, so that's what they got. The hybrid grade is equipped with the 5th-generation hybrid system with standard all-wheel drive, 196 net combined horsepower, and an estimated 42 miles to the gallon. And you and I have said this, hybrid versions are some of the best to get more performance. I've driven the Crosstrek. I've driven the Corolla Cross, and it is when the non-hybrid version is kind of slow. The hybrid version is nice. So
yeah, just enough extra power, and the retail price, starting price, is only $24,000. That's really a bargain compared to the average transaction price.
Yeah. So new colors, new upgrades. There's dual zone HVAC available in some of the higher end models. That's something that I don't believe was available previously. So that's a nice upgrade. And the XSE, which is the top of the model, features Softtrex trimmed mixed media seating and LED fog lights, 18-inch sport alloy wheels, ambient lighting. So I think they've upped their game a bit, added some colors, and also improved the interior. I think about the only thing it's missing is the heated steering wheel. So, and in this kind of weather, you kind of like the heated steering wheel, don't you?
Well, yes. It's a comfort.
It's a comfort, yeah, for sure. So, so there you have it. That's be coming out real soon. The Toyota Corolla Cross for 2025. You have a story on Mazda, don't you?
That is right. The Miata, which by the way is celebrating its 35th anniversary.
Okay.
Now that alone as a model is pretty impressive.
Oh, I agree.
And they've managed to keep the price very reasonable all these years. It's the best sports car, the best actual sports car, basic sports car that's ever been built.
Well, we'll have more on that when we come back on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Stay tuned. We're going to go and check out the Consumer Reports report card. We'll be right back.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Fred Staab and Les Jackson. We are joined by Jon Linkov from Consumer Reports. John, you have been busy, you and your team.
There he is.
You've got some incredible information to share with us. I think it's going to be great information for anyone buying a vehicle. And I'm teasing, there's one kind of tip in here a little bit later on that is old school, and apparently it still holds true. So I'll tease that.
Sure.
But
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about the whole idea of the automotive report card from Consumer Reports.
Well, what we do is on consumerreports.org, but also in our magazine, we take a holistic look at the industry, at the brands. So we go at the brand level from our data, and our data comes from our members. So we survey our millions of subscribers, our CR members. We get the data on this year more than 300,000 vehicles. We look at new cars, we look at the used cars, and we are able to give you a rating on how they're going to perform reliability wise. We also look at owner satisfaction. But what we do is we also rank the manufacturers by the brand level reliability, and what a vehicle a manufacturer has to have at least two models in there. So we don't still have one vehicle that's an outlier, so it is a really high performer or a really low performer. And by looking at the reliability of the entire line, we're able to really give buyers an understanding of how well that manufacturer performs. They can have one great vehicle, but if you ignore the brand because it has lower reliability because of that one vehicle, that could be problematic. You could find a hidden gem. At the same time, you don't want to go into a dealership and say, oh, this brand has great reliability, and then buy their one vehicle that has low reliability. So we look at it both the high level as well as down to the model. And that's the best way to shop.
Well, let's get right into it because there's big news from Subaru, right? They topped the list, and this is the first time for this brand to top the list.
Certainly. So in our reliability survey, Subaru has come in the top. They pushed Toyota and Lexus down. Toyota and Lexus, whatever people feel about their styling, their performance, they're more of an appliance. They're not whatever it is. They do build reliable vehicles, and what historically they've done is they've kept the same powertrain. They've kept a lot of the same electronics. They've made incremental changes, not huge wholesale overhauls of their entire line every few years. So for decades, they were running that V6 engine, and they were making small changes, 6-speed automatic when others were going to 8 and 10s. What happened with them is that they've had a couple models that have dropped because of the new turbocharged 4 cylinders. And Subaru, on the other hand, has been doing what Lexus and Toyota have done. So they have consistent product. They're not making big changes. Sure, they're running 4 cylinders and turbo 4 cylinders, but they've been running them for years. Remember, the Subaru Ascent was one of the first 3-row SUVs to come out only in a turbocharged 4-cylinder. Now everyone else is following them. So They keep the same platforms. They make evolutionary changes, nothing radical. And they also benefit from having a very small product line. It's 7 or 8 vehicles, but they don't have pickup trucks. They don't have minivans. They don't have small trucks. They don't have multiple SUVs. They do something very well. They make the incremental changes, and that really shows. In fact, their worst vehicle in terms of reliability is the Subaru Solterra, which is a joint Toyota product. So right there, you like the one thing that's not theirs is the one problematic vehicle.
Yeah, and it's funny the brother or sister to that from Toyota doesn't get great ratings either. So, but
exactly.
Les, Subaru has always had great brand loyalty. I mean, it's that's pretty amazing, isn't it?
It's just huge. I've joked many times that in the northeastern states, it's actually the law that you have to own a Subaru because you can count on them to get through snow and mud, and they're great.
Yeah.
They play well. Talk with them like in the Smile, the Northeast and the Pacific Northwest. The rest of the Smile, the quarters they do well, and the rest of the Smile they didn't for years. Because all-wheel drive was a unique thing. It wasn't needed everyone. Now that everyone's all-wheel drive, I think that they're penetrating different markets that were before not really welcome to them. No one needed their quirky cars that had all-wheel drive down in Oklahoma or, in Arizona or anything.
Right.
Now it's different.
Yeah, and it's also interesting, too, that all-wheel drive for the full lineup, except for one model, was a unique identifier for them, but now not so much.
Sure.
A lot of all-wheel drive vehicles. So Lexus comes in at number 2. No surprise there. Lexus 2 and Toyota 3.
Right. Again, they still have very core, reliable products. But what you see is that Lexus has one SUV that's a little bit below average, and that took their score down a touch. Toyota has some issues with the aforementioned BZ4X. Also with the Tacoma and the Tundra pickup trucks. They're coming in with lower reliability, and they're dragging the brand down. You're still going to get average or better reliability with the Highlander, or the Grand Highlander. Your RAV4. Now it's called the RAV4 plug-in, not the RAV4 Prime. But all of those models are still reliable or well above. They're just, if you look at the score, I mean, the brand score for Subaru is a 68. Lexus is 65, Toyota 62. You see like small little hiccups is what drops someone down from first to second to third.
Gotcha. And then, Les, they follow along. We have Honda, Acura, Audi did well. So, number 7. That's a good showing for Audi, I think. And then
exactly
the two brands that have just been killing it, Kia and Hyundai. They both make it into the top 10, Kia 9 and Hyundai 10. I have questions about that. That still persists in some people's minds, John. Oh, you bought a Kia, you bought a Hyundai, but that brand has been killing it sales-wise, those brands.
They have, and one of the reasons is you have. I apologize, looking at another screen. Something like the Kia Sorento Hybrid is it's the most reliable midsize 3-row or large SUV in our survey. So it has, a very high predicted reliability rating. So it not only tests well, it not only gives you excellent fuel economy. And I heard you guys talking earlier about the hybrid version of many vehicles is actually better than the conventional gas-powered engine version because,
absolutely,
with all the small 4 cylinders for fuel economy, that electric powertrain fills in the gaps, and you don't have that flaring. Even with an traditional automatic, you have more power pulling off the line that's electric, and the engine doesn't have to work so hard. So you have this, and sometimes the weight too, that extra weight of the battery, just a little bit, even if it's a hybrid battery, just settles the car a little more. So we see that the hybrid versions outscore the conventional versions all the time. And it's the same type of situation here. It's this just the top models we have. We see Hyundai Elantra Hybrid is one of the top performers. It's our 6th most reliable vehicle in the survey. So you're not going to go wrong shopping a Hyundai or a Kia. Just be careful. Some of them have a lower reliability. The electric vehicles from the brands, up and down, their newer technology, their new product. So, that's why you can't just walk into a Kia or a Hyundai dealer or even a Toyota dealer and just say, yeah, whatever, I'll just buy it.
Whatever you got.
Of
yeah.
Research, exactly.
Yeah.
What color do you have, right?
Kick the tires and drive home that day without doing any research. Research, you have to do it. And there's a lot of information out there. Of course, we want people to go to consumerreports.org, but we do say, look at a variety of sources, get a variety of opinions, make your most informed decision.
Yeah. I think I maybe I'm wrong, and I don't know if Consumer Reports has ever looked into this. Most buyers now are pretty well informed when it comes to vehicles. They don't go in and say, "Ooh, look at that! I like the wheel covers there." I mean, they have kind of researched it and kind of maybe narrowed it down to 3 or 4 vehicles that they go to actually go sit in and see if they can see out of the windows. And Les and I always say that just don't buy it and jump in it, and then you realize, oh, it's got 6-inch tall windows and I can't see out the back.
Yeah, or you don't fit. Also, actually, I'm not disagreeing with what Fred just said, but I get what I feel is a disproportionate number of phone calls and emails from people around here, DC, who are saying, well, I think I'm interested in such and such brand, and I don't know how reliable it is. Can you tell me? And I'm thinking, you do have a computer. And
go.
We are in the library too. You could go to the library and get our magazine.
There's the library, yes.
Yeah. You got to do some research. I mean, the average price now is nearing $50,000 for a vehicle.
That's a lot of money.
So you shouldn't go in and say, "Oh, look at the pretty red." Although I do like Soul Red, I always like that. So, but you. As you always say, when you go in to buy the car and it's red and you really want red, you say, yeah, I would have really liked it if it was blue. But that's a buying technique.
That's true.
I
have a question.
I'm sorry.
We're about coming up on a break, guys, by the way. But when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about, I think, a great piece of information that came out of this Consumer Reports report card was the fact that plug-in hybrids are less reliable than regular hybrids. And we'll talk about that. I want to get John's take on that. And also, he's got that tip. It is an old school tip, but apparently it still holds true when it goes to buying new vehicles. Hey, we'll be right back on Cruise Control. Stay tuned. John, we're in a break. I didn't mean to cut you off. What was the point you were going to make? And please share it with our streaming audience while we're in the break.
Oh, sure. I was just going to say that the headaches that we hear about from people is that they don't pay attention to their vehicle and then it breaks down and then they're stuck. And it's I ignored a noise. I didn't realize it had 200,000 miles. I haven't done an oil change, and then all of a sudden they're desperate. And when you're desperate, you're not making the best decision. I won't say you make a poor decision always, but that was one thing is the look ahead, because when you go into a dealer because you took a cab there, that's not the good time.
No, they know.
Yeah, yeah.
They know.
Go with the friend.
Go with a friend. Yes. Don't let. It's like use your poker face, right? Don't give anything away. The less information you give away, whether it's to a scammer or to a salesperson in any industry, you want to hold your cards to your vest. It's not a slight to the card industry.
Yes,
it's to anything.
Yes, I know.
Walk in looking like you're homeless and
unhappy. Say, you don't have anything I like.
That's right. When we come back in, John, I wanted to ask, what exactly is Consumer Reports finding so many faults with Rivian? Because it's a really popular brand, at least around here.
People love it too. They say they would buy another one if they're given the chance.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and we can talk about that now in the break.
Yeah, I mean, what we see really, it's for them, it's the first year new vehicle type of growing pain. So it's across the board. EV battery headaches, EV charging headaches, whether it's a software or a failure and a replacement. They're having problems with that system, so they're being stranded. You're getting just weird climate system problems. Some of it could be that it's not working very well with the adjustment through the screen, but whatever it is, it's coming up in the climate system isn't working. But a lot of stuff also, paint and trim, noises and leaks, and the electronics. And it's that build quality issue that you just get from a small manufacturer that's new. They're pumping stuff out and they don't have the expertise. We don't see that in the more of the legacy vehicles. The Jeep Grand Cherokee has low reliability, but we're not seeing paint and trim and
door handle issues. Yeah. Well,
they know how to handle that stuff. They're having problems with other stuff.
I'll ask a question. You probably can't answer it, John, but why don't those manufacturers break down and say, yes, we need to hire some automotive manufacturing experts that know how to make a door fit right? Because they're out there. They are out there.
Tesla still hasn't learned.
You wonder where the ego falls in. You wonder where the we can do it better falls in. We're Silicon Valley. I mean, as much as that has been out there now for years, I still think there is this we do it differently, and I think there's just that's an expense. But it's an expense, and maybe it's a line item they don't want to spend because they're all hemorrhaging money. I mean, look at the deals that they're making. Rivian's making. And
it's like the Navy doesn't want to buy transport ships because they're not sexy. They want to buy a new destroyer. Where hiring someone to make your door fit is not sexy, and you can't say, "Look what we did. Our doors now work," which is good. Yeah. It's a good thing. Consumer Reports will like you, but.
Right. Well, I think of the Chevy Cavalier, and Chevrolet would be like, "Oh, it's better than the last one." Like, well, thank God it's better than the last one. It's a new design. If it was worse, that's the same thing. You don't sell. You sell on.
Oh my gosh!
Here we go.
Cruise control.
And welcome back. We were just having some fun during the break, chatting about vehicles. I do want to bring that point out. Jon Linkov is from Consumer Reports. He's going through the Consumer Reports report card with us. Great information. Tell people where they can see this, John, because we can't get to all of it. It's just too much information.
Certainly. So we have it on consumerreports.org, or you can even shortcut it, cr.org/cars. We have our full report there. There's some stuff in front of our paywall because we are a nonprofit, so we do charge a subscription fee, a membership fee. There's some information ahead of the paywall. There's some information behind the paywall. You can also find it. It'll be coming out in newsstands as well in the near future.
And we were just talking during the break, Les and I and John, about why new manufacturers like Rivian and Tesla and others have problems with, sometimes it's advanced things like charging and all that for electric vehicles, but other times it's things like the paint, the trim. The trim falls off.
Doors.
The doors break. I mean, this is basic automotive stuff that was fixed in the 70s, like when that used to be common and the guy would take the giant bar and on the assembly line and bend the door to make it fit. I mean, but now, I mean, I've seen footage of them building regular run-of-the-mill cars and they're gapping the doors, and So why don't, my question is, and as I said during the break, John, you probably can't answer, why don't they invest in that technology or hire someone that knows how to build, gap doors and fit doors?
I mean, I'll take off the CR hat, and I'll just, in my opinion, because we don't necessarily have the answer for that 100%.
No, and you don't. And
it is, the spend has to be in some places, and unfortunately, in some ways, I think that the spend is wasteful. They're trying to save money by not having a lot of components, such as look at the climate control system in a Rivian, for example. It's through the screen, much like Tesla. It's through the screen. You don't have
software
levers. It's all software. It's a vent in the back, a vent door in the back that opens and closes and adjusts, but no moving parts that the consumer can break. And that's great, saves money. But you're spending, that's a lot. But even if it's programming, it's still a lot to work on, and you only have so many dollars. And it's also hard to sell on our doors fit. Our doors work.
Well,
but
our door handle will work. Yes.
Right. But you can sell on the door handles pop out. You could sell on there's a tube underneath it that's a special hiding place in the R1T. And it's very cool in the Rivian R1T to have that gear tunnel. But if it fills with water, as there have been reports, if it isn't sealed and leaks get into it, that's a thing. So where do you make it boring and hope it sells? Do you make it exciting and then deal with the problems on the back end?
Yeah. Well, moving on to a different direction, because we've got a lot of territory to cover here. Reliability. I found this an interesting point. Hybrids seem to reign great. We talked about them. Hey, they have better acceleration. You called it flaring. I definitely know what you mean. There's the dead spot where the transmission has to get into the right gear and all that. The hybrids got you covered. That's like the electric guy giving you the push until the engine gets up to speed. But plug-in hybrids, which you would say are more of a good thing, most of them have even more horsepower, not as reliable, which I found very interesting as a takeaway from this Consumer Reports report card.
What we're seeing is that hybrids and conventional gas-powered vehicles are on par. Hybrids, the technology has been out there, and you've had Toyota and Toyota Lexus as well, but Toyota, having done it for so many years, it just works. Honda, the key is in Hyundais as well. It's right in there, and everything works. With the dual powertrain of the plug-in hybrids, you're still seeing headaches and hiccups and lower reliability. So a BMW X5 plug-in hybrid, for example, it has average reliability, but it's below the regular X5. The regular X5 is more reliable. The plug-in's a great vehicle, and it scores high in our testing, for example. The same type of thing with the Volvo XC70 plug-in. Now that actually improved this year. Last year it was below average, so it's improved, but the reliability still is below the regular XC60. And we see that in all of these vehicles, that the plug-ins, except for the RAV4 plug-in hybrid, the Prius plug-in hybrid, they're high, they're almost equal to their conventional, if you will, a Prius or a RAV4 hybrid or something like that. They're up there, but the rest of it's just the complication of the powertrain is just, it's an extra hiccup spot. It has charging issues. That's the same type of thing that we see with many EVs, whether it's the talking software wise, or whether it's the battery is failing, whether it's just not charging internally. That's what we see with the plug-in hybrids as well as the EVs. They're better than last year. They're significant. They made major improvements in overall reliability. They still trail gas-powered and hybrid, conventional hybrid, if you will, vehicles.
All right. So hybrid may be the way to go for reliability, Les.
Yeah. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with a hybrid. I mean, they're terrific, and they're a great transition to ultimately a full electric, if that's the direction you're going.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, John,
it's hard to argue with the Corolla hybrid, and it's near 40 miles per gallon. Why do I do the extra expense of something else?
Yeah, that's true. The ultimate commuter car. That's how I reviewed it when I reviewed it. I said this is the ultimate commuter car. You made one point or your team did that in the study that it's still best not to buy a new model in the first year of production. I mean, that goes back to the early days of buying cars, but it still holds true even in today's world of computer-aided design and testing.
Yeah. and it's funny, we joke about that, and not in a sense of, oh, haha, to people, but like, we need that data for those first year models to be able to tell people this. So we say, well, don't buy it, but we still want people to buy those first year models. But the thing is, no matter the manufacturer, whether it's Toyota, whether it's Hyundai, whether it's Chrysler, whether it's Mercedes-Benz, they all have first year teething problems. The best model to buy of a generation is always the final production year. They worked all the problems out. They're slowing down production. They're not racing through. They're worried about building the line for the next version. That one has great reliability, and then the next vehicle plummets. Even if it drops to average, there's still problems with it that the last generation didn't have, and it's just from tooling up. It's just stuff. As much as the line is, the pre-job one line models are run out there. Stuff happens. They find stuff out. Whether it's a supplier, whether it's the build process, whether it's just something wasn't sealed properly, they needed more sealant for the windshield, whatever it would be. There's teething pains for any vehicle. So don't be the first one on the block. First of all, you're going to pay a premium to be the first one on the block, no matter what. So you're not getting a discount, and you don't want to. It's covered by warranty, but what's your time worth? Especially if you're living further from the dealership. If it's a headache, and if you have the first year of a non-traditional, direct from manufacturer purchase. So not to knock them, but you have a Lucid, a Rivian, a Tesla, something where you're not able to just drive down the street to I had the Ford dealer 4 minutes away from my house. If you have to go to a service center or have them come pick it up, it's even worse. Then you're really stuck and stranded. So wait a couple of years, wait 2 years, check how the second model year goes. You fell in love with that R1S, you fell in love with that Honda Accord hybrid. Buy the second model year or the third model year.
Yeah, we worked a lot with the Corvette engineers and would have them on the show every year. And they told us every year there's like 100 improvements, whether it's a little part of the rubber gasket when you open the hatch so the water doesn't go in. Remember, Les, that type of thing?
Man, yeah. That's...
Even like they were like the guy, one engineer said, well, you see this? If you bend down and you twist your head sideways, you can see this bolt is not exactly straight. We're fixing that in the next year. I didn't even say, I'm a picky guy. And I was like, okay, whatever. But
sure.
But there are a lot of improvements. And I've always heard that, and it holds true. It's, it just seems like great advice. Any other quick takeaways? We got about, 20 seconds.
I would say the one thing also, when you're looking at our data, check satisfaction. Owner satisfaction is something we also survey. You may find a great vehicle. It ranks high in our testing. It ranks high in reliability. But if you look at it has a 1 or a 2 for owner satisfaction, you may just want to do a little more research and see if it's something that people are saying they don't like, that will apply to you.
All right. We'll see you down the road on Cruise Control. Thank you very much, John.
Yes, thank you, John.
Have a great